Is oxygen, water, and food equally important to you? They're important, but are they equally important? Maybe you love food. Maybe you're a foodie. Or maybe you have a particular form of brand of water that you especially like. But are they equally important? We can live up to a week or more without food, a few days without water, but only a few minutes without oxygen. So of the three, oxygen, food, water, which is the most important? It's clear. It's oxygen. Because without oxygen, we cannot live. And that's what Jehovah is saying to us here. He has a value system, a set of priorities. Yes, he values our sacrifices, but what he values more is our obedience. See, it's not enough for us to say, I love Jehovah. He's the most important person in my life. We must prove it by obeying Jehovah in everything, not just in the things that we like. Because if we do not cultivate obedience, we will not have Jehovah's approval. If we do not cultivate obedience, we will not live forever. Pride is like a corrosive rust. What makes rust so dangerous is that it corrodes things gradually over time. Often you don't see the effects of the corrosion until it's too late. In most cases, a pipe or a balcony doesn't just burst or collapse the moment rust begins to grow. No, over time, hidden to the site, rust will grow, corrode, and weaken the metal, and then a catastrophe follows. Pride is the same way. You can't look at a person and say, I can see pride growing within them. No, it doesn't work that way. But make no mistake, all of us, we have qualities that make us beautiful to Jehovah. If left unchecked, pride will corrode each and every one of those precious qualities, especially our patience. Do not allow pride to weaken your patience. As Christians, we receive a lot of direction, and we can expect to receive even more direction in the future. If we begin to trust in ourselves, our knowledge, our experience, our abilities, and let pride grow within us, we can become frustrated with theocratic direction.
We've just been hearing from Keith Brown, who is a Bethelite at the Wallkill, New York Bethel facilities. He's taking us through the symposium item, Better to be patient than to be haughty in spirit. Imitate Samuel, not Saul. And what can I say? The cultiness is just amped up, isn't it? To factor 10. It's just there. So Keith clearly is a big fan of using illustrations, and he's wheeling them out one after the other. He's talking about oxygen versus food and water, and talking about how we can apply this to Jehovah's priorities and how Jehovah prioritizes obedience over sacrifice in the same way that we might prioritize oxygen over food and water. And then he goes on to talk about rust, and he describes pride as being like rust, saying that it can erode our good qualities so that by the end, we're no longer as responsive to direction from the organization.
As Christians, we receive a lot of direction, and we can expect to receive even more direction in the future. If we begin to trust in ourselves, our knowledge, our experience, our abilities, and let pride grow within us, we can become frustrated with theocratic direction.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to trust in yourself, would you? That would be a terrible thing. What an awful thing to have self-confidence and self-esteem and basically your own conscience. Imagine being able or independent enough where you can form opinions about direction that you're receiving, to the point where you might receive some direction that doesn't make sense from a human standpoint and say, you know what, That's a load of bollocks. I don't agree with that. And not only do I not agree with it, if I were to follow it, it would be detrimental or even extremely harmful either to myself or to others. So I'll take a pass on that. I mean well towards the organization. The organization has my support. It must be difficult to manage an organization as big as this one. So kudos to everyone who's trying to keep it all going, whatever. I'm a fan. But no, thank you. This particular direction is wrong, and I'm not going to go along with it. There's no room for that when you're one of Jehovah's Witnesses. It is obedience or else. As we heard there towards the beginning of this clip, Keith Brown makes it perfectly clear that it's a matter of life or death. Your everlasting life, or let's just be clear, your life hinges on whether you are obedient to the organization or not. It's not a question of simply saying that you love Jehovah. You have to prove it, which, if you think about it, means that when Armageddon comes, again, it's not going to be a question of just angels and the anointed riding around on heavenly horses killing wicked people. There's going to be a whole lot of Jehovah's Witnesses dying who've become discouraged, who've stopped attending meetings, who say they love Jehovah, but for whatever reason aren't proving it enough. And who really gets to be the judge when it comes to how much you're proving what you say if you say that you love Jehovah? Who gets to be the judge? This is why Jehovah's Witnesses are in this perpetual state of self-loathing and feeling insecure, because they never know whether they've done enough. You can be doing everything in the organization. You can be giving every last minute to doing family worship, Bible studying, preparing for the meetings, preaching, you name it. But if there's something else that you've missed, if there's some other way that you could be serving Jehovah, and Armageddon comes and you're not proving your professed love for Jehovah, you're toast.